In today's tutorial, we are going to look at 10 time saving InDesign tips, and we are starting with the document preset feature. This is simply a saved document. Instead of setting up the page size, margins, blades, column, and orientation every single time, you create a preset once. How do we get to it? You go to File, Document Presets, choose Define, then click on New. So we are going to use an example of the US business cards. Let's give it a name, US business. So we need two pages, the front and the back side, facing pages of course, width, height, number of columns, like 5, then the margin, column gutter, which is 0.125, the bleed, the margin, 0.25, then bleed 0.125, then click on OK. So let's get back to home and check the preset we've made. So under saved, let's look for is here, US business. So you click on create. This is what we just created. So anytime you want to design business cards, you don't have to start from the scratch. The next tip you're going to look at is resizing images. So when working with InDesign, it's important to understand the difference between resizing the frame and resizing the image itself. If you simply click and drag the corner of the image, you are not actually resizing the image. You're just adjusting the frame that holds it. So let's take this an example. If I just click and drag, I'm just adjusting the frame that is holding the image. This can be helpful for cropping, but it won't make the image itself larger or smaller. So what do we do in this case? I'm pressing Ctrl+Z. So to resize the actual image, you hold the Control button while dragging. So if I hold the Control button while dragging, this is what happens. This method alone can distort your image since it doesn't maintain the aspect ratio. So what do we do to maintain the aspect ratio? To keep the image proportion intact, you hold the Ctrl+Shift button, then you drag. I'm pressing Ctrl+Z. So if I hold the Ctrl key and Shift, this is what happens. We are maintaining the aspect ratio and the size of the image is also increasing. And if you want to resize the image proportion from the center, you press Ctrl+Shift+Alt. From the center, I'm holding Ctrl, Shift, and Alt. Guess you can see the adjustments are made from the center. Yes, this ensures your image expands evenly from its midpoint. So let's get to the next tip. So let me crop this. So if you have cropped the image and want to quickly reset the frame to match the image's full size, you just press Ctrl Alt and C. Ctrl Alt and C. And the image will get back to its normal size. The next thing we are going to look at is copying and duplicating. So let me delete this. So there are different ways we can handle this. First, you select what you want to duplicate, which is this image. You hold the Alt key, then drag. Alt, then drag. That is the first method. If you want to keep the horizontal and the vertical alignment, you hold Alt, Shift, then drag to maintain both the horizontal and the vertical alignment. So I'm holding the Alt plus Shift, then I'm dragging. This is what happens. For a standard copy and paste, you just press Ctrl C and Ctrl V, but it will just paste the image in the center of the frame. So if I press Ctrl C, Ctrl V, this is what happens. Copying the same object on the same page. So how do we do this? Assuming I want to copy both these on page 2. So I'm going to select both these images, then press Ctrl C. Then on the second page, I'm going to press Ctrl Alt Shift plus V. Ctrl Alt Shift plus V. It is going to paste them in the exact space like the first one. So the next thing we are going to look at, tip number 4, is display quality. And I'm going to use this house plan. So right now the resolution is fading. So how do we solve this issue? You go to View, then Display Performance, choose High Quality. So we are now able to see the house plan, but still you can use a shortcut. Display Performance, let's get back to typical. You can just press Ctrl Alt and H. Ctrl Alt plus H. And if you want to see it clearly, press Shift plus W to go to the preview mode. Shift plus W. This is the preview mode. Then Shift W to get back to the program. What display quality does is basically controlling how clear or sharp your image looks while you are working on the document. So the next tip we are going to look at is the text box tip. If the text box is too large for the amount of text in there and you want to crop it down without doing it manually, for example, let me write something. success. Let's increase the size. That's the size. So if I want to reduce this text box, I will just press Ctrl Alt and C. Ctrl Alt and C. So that's how we do it. The next thing is locking. The next tip is locking the elements. The next tip is increasing text size using angle brackets. So let me select this text. Press Ctrl plus Shift, then the angle brackets, the greater than sign. You can see that the size of the text is increasing, and if you want to reduce it, then you do the opposite. You use the less than sign. So the next step is removing text hyphenation or turning them off. I'm going to write some text. These are the text hyphenation, these dashes, these small dashes. So how do we remove them? We press Ctrl A to select them, then go to the paragraph menu. Then turn this hyphenate option off. That's how we turn them off. Then the last tip is about creating custom color swatches. So what we do is go to the color swatch menu, then choose new color swatch, change from CMYK to this, then you write in your code FCF 6DA. Then you click on add. So this is the color we've added, and you can use it anytime.